The following S11 video contains images which may be distressing and language which may offend some viewers. From September the 11th to the 13th, thousands of people participated in peaceful protests and blockades to oppose corporate-led globalisation. The S11 protests aim to shut down the World Economic Forum's Asia-Pacific Economic Summit, held at Melbourne's Crown Casino.
Well, I'm kind of not opposed to globalisation actually. I think that globalisation could be a really fantastic thing. You know, there's nothing wrong with bringing the world closer together, nothing wrong with, you know, people linking together and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that there's two kinds of globalisation that can be encompassed in the whole word globalisation. There's globalisation from above, which is what we're experiencing now, which is very much ruled by corporate agendas and very much in the interests of an elite few. And then there's globalisation from below, which is kind of already happening. You know, it's the linking of popular struggles the world over. Don't worry, we're getting it on video! Stop it!
What happened to you?
I got hit 3 times in the head.
By what?
A fist.
A fist? Belonging to?
Officer.
When he was in a stuck position and couldn't move, the guy's punching him in the head saying move when he can't even move, like he's stuck there and he's just getting punched.
How's your brother's business, Richard? Check this out, hey! How's your brother's business, Richard? What is this sentence? Land rights now! Stop and resenting! Land rights now! Stop and resenting! Land rights now! Fucking hell. Get a taste of what those brothers, my brothers and sisters in Northern Territory and Western Australia, what you fucking done? Yeah, go home, Richard. Go home, Richard! Stop land resisting! Land rights now! We can't go anywhere!
Richard Court, the unbeloved Premier of Western Australia. He's here to attend the World Economic Forum so he can increase wood chipping ancient forests, so he can increase his attack on Aboriginal land rights, mandatory sentencing and all the rest of the globalisation package. So
okay? Yeah, mate. It's got a bat into the head. Bat into the head.
Down as well, but
Who are you defending today? Are you an Australian? Back off! Yeah, it's alright, we're trying to hard. Move back! Move back! Keep going!
Obviously disturbed that not all delegates can get in and that some scuffles have broken out. I want to commend the police. I think they've done a fantastic and sterling job in showing restraint. And I want to urge protesters as well. If they want to protest, yes, do it peacefully and do it with respect, but don't interrupt the flow of people into this conference. I think that's inappropriate.
We're here to show them that they're not the only clowns in town. We're here to abolish all clown hierarchy, abolition of the clown wages system.
We can talk about the benefits of an open trading system, but let's remember that the last opportunity to put some detail on that was in Seattle, and it was a failure. And it was a failure largely because public opinion was not nearly as advanced as some of the objectives of the policy makers.
We've got these two entrances here. There's been quite a few cars come down here. Basically, they've had a look at the blockade. The blockade's tight, and they've turned around and gone back the way they came.
So you're actually blockading patrons from getting into the casino?
Absolutely, yeah. No one gets in, no one gets out. That's
have they tried to bus anyone through here yet?
They've had a few buses down here, where they took them up that way. There've been a few cars try to come through here. We blocked them. And
no buses have been getting through or cars anywhere?
I've heard of a couple, but I've only been around here, so I don't really know what's happening elsewhere.
Okay.
And these global corporations are the common enemy of green groups, of communities and of unions. They suppress workers everywhere, and we're building alliances between groups, and today is what it's all about. You know, challenging corporate greed and challenging the way they oppress human values everywhere.
And these guys are undemocratic, unelected, unaccountable, and their continued existence is untenable. Poverty in this country 20% in poverty overall, hundreds of thousands unemployed, and these fuckers are in here talking about ways that they're going to increase the poverty of the third world, the first world, and drive their profits up and the rest of the world down. And it's time people now realise that these fuckers are ruling by illusion, that when the people wake from their slumber, these guys' days are numbered.
We asked repetitively for the name and badge number of the police officer, but he had no name, or he had no badge, and the police aren't giving names out or badge numbers. So
What do you think of that?
there's nothing we can do. We need help down here. Like, we're defenceless. We're defenceless against our own police, and it's not what I expected of Australia.
Well, my question to Bill Gates is, are you coming out here to grab a megaphone and talk with the people today? To John Howard, will you come out and take the microphone? To Steve Bracks, are you going to come out and take the microphone? And of course none of them are, because they're not people mixers. They're comfortable up in that tower.
Why don't you go to work like I'm trying to do?
Oh, wait,
go down that way. No way, he wants to go down that way. No, hey, you want to run the other way? Go on. Nice one, mate. Nice one. Come on! Stay back. Stay back. Fuck it! Watch out. Right, move it. This is Australian democracy.
But the big thing here is the protest. That's what's putting Melbourne on the map, not the World Economic Forum. The fact that there's people power involved here, and people are standing up, and they're coming out in their thousands.
No violence!
Do you know who you are?
Do you mind if I ask you what you're doing here?
Legal observer.
Yeah, I'm from Scar TV.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, so you're taking policemen's names, is that what you're doing? Police officers' names?
Yeah, just jotting down names now while it's quiet.
And the impact of that demonstration means this demonstration against the parent body of the World Trade Organization will go all around the world. There is a demonstration in Prague on the 26th of September. There will be 100,000 people from England, from Greece, from Norway at the IMF meeting in Prague.
What just happened to you then?
I was part of the first 3 rows that were linked right at the front, and when the police started pushing us from the back, they were using their elbows like on our necks and in our ribs to push us, and this one policeman grabbed my hair and pulled it, and like he used that as like a guide to pull me back. And at that stage I couldn't breathe, but there were all these people around me who were freaking out. But we just stood our ground, and it worked. Took a deep breath, and it was all worth it. So.
Yeah, I saw the cops grabbing somebody by the hair, and some cops throwing a few punches as well. They're playing hardball, aren't they?
They were really. I didn't expect them to be this aggressive. After this morning, they all just seemed to kind of drift around. You know, they seem quite passive. But once you stir them up, I think it comes out. And especially using the horses like they were, it was terrible. The horses were quite scared, I think. Yeah.
What we have is, and I look inside this room and I look outside. Inside you've got everyone in a dark grey suit. They talk to each other. They have no idea about how reality works because they never have to come in contact with it. They're so privileged that they can insulate themselves at every point from every consequence of their actions and decisions. And then outside you've got all these amazing survivors. People surviving without jobs, people managing to find communication systems in spite of having no access. And then I think to myself, if only the privileged could listen a little more sensitively to the excluded, we have a chance for the world.
I've come here, I got one of those cheap flights, got corporate flight down here, and I'm here to fucking join this huge voice that's saying no to this sort of stuff, no to the elite few running the show for everyone else. And, we've been doing stuff in the desert, we've been opposing uranium mining, which puts out a really dodgy radiation, and WTO puts an even worse radiation out, causing misery all over the world. But luckily there's a really good active movement of people opposing it, and so far it looks at a lot of... I've stopped a lot of people getting in, I think. I'm not sure what's happening at other gates, but there's hopefully more people will turn up. Seems like everyone's sort of sprinting around trying to cover gates as they're trying to get in.
And Melbourne's turned on its very best weather for us?
Yeah, it did. Beautiful weather, yeah. It's classic.
No, it wouldn't be Melbourne. It might be sunny another 10 minutes.
Yeah, you never know. But no, it's inspiring to be part of it, and hopefully it'll have an effect. We can stop this sort of thing. It's time to turn the tide, Yeah.
And basically we're here today because this is a cause we truly believe in. For years now we've been aware that the big companies, multinationals are slowly taking over, and basically watching the third world suffering while we're all living in the lap of luxury, it's just not good enough. It's something that we have to do about it, and that's why we're here today.
Those people who want to keep this as a peaceful protest, but a meaningful protest. It's no good us standing out of the way and just holding placards on the corner. We have to have the strength to stand peacefully in defiance of the money grabbers and the people who have taken away the rights of average citizens.
It happened within 10 minutes. Okay. 10 minutes ago.
Were you able to identify the person who did it? Is the most important thing.
I've already gone out to see the cop again, pointed him out, got a photograph, I've got the address.
Do you know where the photograph is?
I've got the address. I've given my address to the guy that's going to send it to me.
Okay.
But I think the cops are still there, and we could film them even. There was a couple of people actually hitting out. There was like a commissioner guy.
What were you hit with?
I was hit with a punch in the face.
Is that when they were going move?
No, it was a full-on reached-out punch, extended, punched me in the face. There was another commissioner fellow that was doing the same thing repetitively, maybe 10 times to another guy next to me. He was getting hit in the head too.
Thank you, Jim. And I'd like to thank the World Economic Forum for the gracious invitation to be with you this morning, and for the honor of participating in this opening panel. This opening panel of a particularly important Asia-Pacific Economic Summit, this Millennium Summit in Melbourne.
I found access by asking the protesters whether they accepted my coming in, and they did. They said, "You are one of us, you speak our language, you have our values, and so it's all right for you to go in there and speak on our behalf. And that's why I'm spending far more time speaking for young Australians than speaking about the victims of globalization in India, which is what I would normally have done if we hadn't seen the kind of exclusion that we are seeing out here.
This is a brief statement, and I'm sorry to say we don't have a lot of time in this room because it is booked for a 4:35 press briefing, so we won't have time for a lot of questions. We'll try to get a couple of them in. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As all of you know, it has been a difficult day here in Melbourne, not just for the World Economic Forum, but for the police and the public officials of this very fine city. After a day of great difficulty, we are pleased to say that all of our sessions have been held without incident. They've been well attended. And as always with World Economic Forum events around the world, the discussions have been lively and they've been provocative. In that context, we are very disappointed that some 150 to 200 of our participants have been stranded at their hotels and unable to join us here at the Crown Complex. That's an abridgment of their rights, and it results from direct violations of the law. And let's be clear here, this is not a case of civil disobedience, defiance of an unjust law. It is rather defiance of the very laws that protect free speech and free assembly, the same laws that allow peaceful protest and dissent.
So we are not, the reason that voice outside is important is the issue of corporate rule, when looked at without its democratic accountability, is going to actually end up doing what it's doing to large portions of the world, create criminal rule, the rule of criminals. And the people out there on the streets care about society, they care about the future, and it's really time we listen to them. And that's why it was far more important for me that if I'm in here, I'm here with their permission, I'm here with their consent, because I'd much rather give up participation in a forum. I would never give up my solidarity with the young people on the streets.
The police have done a very good job, but I believe they should have been stronger in providing a safe passage for delegates to the conference.
You never changed.
I think that the way they've disrupted people from attending the conference, the protesters have unfortunately won the first round, and that should not be allowed to continue. There ought to be safe passage for people to and from the forum, and the police ought to preserve that.
On Monday, September the 11th, over 10,000 protesters seriously disrupted the World Economic Forum meeting. Approximately 1/3 of the delegates were prevented from attending, an inspiring start to the three-day protest. On Tuesday morning, the police strategy changed. They used their batons to clear away the peaceful protesters, allowing forum delegates to get into the casino.
I'm sure this is the duty of care that the Victorian Police, are supposed to carry out. I'm glad they're protecting the community, upholding the right wing. That's all they're doing.
I don't know if you can speak, but I'm from the BBC in London. Can you tell me?
Top of his forehead, broken nose, probably 2 to 3 stitches across the top, and he's lost a tooth in his mouth and some hole that we can't find in there.
Following heavily biased coverage in Tuesday's Herald Sun, a group of protesters moved to Murdoch's Herald and Weekly Times headquarters to voice their opposition.
Isn't this beautiful?
It's a little bit hairy at the moment, isn't it?
Mate, what is your protest here?
Just to keep people posted of the ongoing negotiations with the police, the first question was, what is our protest here? The answer to that, I think we'd all agree, the Herald Sun... How could you say that? Yeah, we're dissatisfied with the quality of Mr Murdoch's publications. We're especially dissatisfied with the fact that he spent thousands of trees, thousands of bits of lead ink and all the rest of it smearing the non-violent protest which has been planned for today. Despite that 10,000 people have turned up, we thought that we would personally visit Mr Murdoch's premises here in Melbourne to convey our dissatisfaction to him and to make it clear that members of the World Economic Forum aren't going to have an easy time running roughshod over the rights, over the truth. And it looks like our negotiation session has ended with the police before it even began. We'll see if he has another question, but
Step back, please.
Sure. You work for the Herald and Weekly Times too?
They probably start off with good intentions, but the higher they go, the more they have to compromise their own principles, because we know that the corporate elite, will not allow people to move higher up into the hierarchy unless they force people, unless there's a compromisation of principles there.
Excuse me, I'm from Access News Channel 31. I'm just wondering if you might have some comments about the people that are in your workplace at the moment.
I'd just rather get on with my work.
Do you understand why they're here?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any comments on?
Like, he's basically Rupert Murdoch's bootboarder. He provides the right-wing common sense that there's going to be, one grub in every sort of tea room that reads Andrew Bolt and regurgitates it to the rest of our unfortunate ears. The Herald Sun, the rest of the media play a very important function for the powers that be. They provide that kind of common sense that says, you can't change the world, you're powerless, people that try to change the world are ratbags and all the rest of it. Strangely enough, like though he had the opportunity to do live interviews with all of us when we were standing right there, he was just across the little corridor there. He somehow seemed reluctant to get our side of the story, but we'll be back, Andrew. We'll be back.
Human need no corporate greed, shut the forum down! Human need no corporate greed, shut the forum down! Human need no corporate greed, shut the forum down! Human need no corporate greed, shut the forum down!
I've come along to just join the voices of the voiceless who are left outside this place of so-called dialogue. And I just wanted to make sure that police violence was not, I wanted to be a participant but also a viewer and to make sure that the police were doing their job and not going overboard. Because there's a lot of young protesters here today and I was really worried that they may strike a lot of violence.
All the boys don't understand it! Make a noise and make it clear! Whoa, whoa, we're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live in fear. Whoa, whoa.
It's time.
What's the next word?
I said that they weren't violent police. Not all the police were violent.
Is that what they said?
Yes.
But not all the police were violent?
No, because I said that I had actually witnessed violence yesterday.
Right.
And yeah, they said they weren't violent. And when I said that they were corrupt, they all yelled out that that's slander. But then I reminded them that pushing me was assault, and they were all quiet then.
All those people caught the train in yesterday morning, and we came here for one reason. To tell these arseholes upstairs that what they're doing to people around the world is not right, and we're going to tell them to get fucked. We're going to tell them to get fucked time and time and time again until they go. That fence over there that they've erected is very symbolic. The last time the ruling class had to put up fences like that under feudalism, it didn't fucking last long. All the world is watching. Little people from all over rural Australia, from all over rural areas in other countries, from the cities, the unemployed, the workers, the environment movement, coming together for the first time in a long time. This is not just a battle about wages, it's not just a battle about trees. It's a battle about the majority of people in the world that have got nothing and they've got everything.
What do you think of independent media? Don't you think we should be here too?
I don't want to confuse you. You've had trouble with it. Independent.
But you've never met me before. How can you say that? Are you from a regional centre or are you a city policeman?
What's this first question?
Have you been in the force for quite a while?
Finished.
Do you think your attitudes are really up to date?
Would you like a drink? We'd like to look after you people, make sure you're well and fit. Got drinks and things.
Do you think the baton charge last night was appropriate?
Mr. Cold is shaking.
Do you think the woman with the broken spine really deserves it? You? Do you think that baton charge that caused that broken spine is really keeping the peace? I'd like to know the people who are in the front line of that baton charge. What option do they have?
Rehashed.
Any?
I'll get the cheeky comment now, mate.
This rally is important, this protest is important, this blockade is important because it's about justice. It's about the fact that corporate greed treats workers with contempt. The textile, clothing and footwear industry is at the forefront of globalisation around this world. Textile, clothing and footwear workers are treated like human fodder by multinational and transnational companies in every country in the world. We have been the site of globalisation, and it is the workers of the textile, clothing and footwear industry that have suffered at the hands of companies whose decisions about where they manufacture has nothing to do with the communities, the lives, the people, the families of those people who are actually making their product and making their profit.
Be proud of who and what you are and what you're doing. Be proud of that. Put your name tags on. Then put your name tags on. Why are you hiding? No, it's not. Cool. Then put your name tag on. Be proud of who and what you are. Without your identification, your uniform means shit, brother. Without your identification, your uniform means shit. And you know that. You absolutely know that. If you were to stop me on the street without identification and demand identification of me, you know that the law states that you've got to identify yourself. You are obliged to identify yourself. Put
You guys
name
going for
tag on.
donuts?
If you're proud, put your name tag on. If you're proud, put your name tag on.
You're going to hear a lot of speeches down the other end about globalisation and the problems it is and all the rest of it. I just want to give you a couple of very quick stories. Firstly, the workers at Dorf, because they wanted to fight for decent wages, globalisation, global capital said, we're going to shut you down. 250 workers after a 13-week struggle got knocked off. Down at Heinz, where they occupied their factory, because over in New Zealand, workers there getting $6 an hour are going to take their jobs, because global capital says you've got to have a return on capital, and if you can't do it, if you can't make the budget, you can't make the profits we want, we're going to shut you down. And yesterday I was up at Bendigo in a place called Milnes Engineering. 40 metal workers on a picket line. The boss had a 125% increase in profits, and he says you can't get a pay rise for the next 3 years. So what we done, 40 workers up there on the picket, went in there to talk to 8 scabs who suddenly disappeared, ran out the doors, ran away. When the coppers showed up, they said we can't do anything because there's 1,000 coppers down at Crown Casino. So say to you on behalf of our members, we're angry, we're going to be very disciplined today, we're not going to be going out fighting. I was there yesterday, there was no violence by workers yesterday, none whatsoever, but we're going to be revved up, we're going to say to these bastards of the WEF, fair trade, we want fair rights for Australian workers and workers all around the world, because workers in Indonesia, New Zealand are workers like us, they deserve fucking decent rights like we do, to say, dare to struggle, dare to win.
Thanks, Craig.
And it's important to put it into a context that we all understand. And to me, it all is summed up in the humble teddy bear biscuit. Teddy bear biscuits only live in Australia. They are an Australian invention. They were invented by a company called Guests. Guests was taken over by an Australian family company called Arnott's. And then a couple of years ago, Campbell's, a foreign multinational global food conglomerate, took our biscuits off us. They've taken our biscuits. Do you understand? It might be one thing to lose a job, but to lose your biscuits, that's a fundamental attack on the rights of all Australians. And not only did they take our biscuits, they changed them. Teddy bear biscuits are now smaller and they're harder, more economically rational. And TV snacks. TV snacks. Black and white television and TV snacks, that's what I grew up with. And you know what they've done now? There used to be one TV snack. Now there's 37 different varieties of... Why? Why do we need that when there are people in the third world who can't even afford one TV snack? The reason is these people are throwing choice at us. People don't have time to think about globalism. They don't have time to come down to Crown Casino. They're too busy choosing which TV snack to take home to their family. This is capitalism gone mad, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the message you take down there today. Tell those people we want our biscuits back. Now,
Band, Mick.
Hey, mate, we're going live.
Where's the band?
The whole of the world into a good, prosperous standard of living and to what the Americans call the pursuit of happiness. That's what the forum's all about. It's not making decisions, it's to talk about these enormously important issues.
But a degree of frustration at being excluded is absolutely natural. And that's why it's so important for people to be allowed to come in here and speak. Now, we face criticism from some in civil society for dignifying in our own very modest way these sorts of gatherings. It's not easy for us to come into these gatherings, but I think many of us feel that it's necessary. I feel more comfortable though if I know there's been a strong protest outside, but they must involve more. It has been tokenism here, and the assertions that they've tried hard to avoid that are not true.
On Tuesday evening, Forum delegates had an exclusive dinner appointment. As in the morning, police used their batons to beat a path through the protesters. Over 30 people were taken to hospital.
Why? Think about it, man. Go home and think about it. Fucking think about it. See the reality. See the reality. Don't deny it anymore. Don't deny it. How can you? How can you? How can you sleep at night, man? All of you. Really? What's it about? Shit! To protect and to serve, man. To protect and to serve. Think about it. Who are you protecting? Who are you serving? Not us. If you were protecting and serving us, you would be on this side. You would be on this side, not over there.
We want
15 minutes ago, we were here and there was a relatively small number of people were at this gate, and I think most of the people were expecting the buses to come out either in the main street up the other end or to one side. And all of a sudden there was a charge of the police with batons, and they came pushing through very aggressively and pushed the crowd. And some of them were up hanging off the gates, and they were leaning down into the crowd, beating the crowd, and then they beat their way through the crowd. And then all the police on horses that you see now, they came down this street pushing everyone away from their side. So that was about 15 minutes ago, and everyone's feeling the moment of it.
Shame on you,
You know, I obviously put a lot of hope and faith and invest my time in the energies of women because of a number of reasons. First, that all my own life and through my involvement, I found that women are able to persist a little longer. They've just had training through life of persisting on extremely boring jobs, so they're able to continue to work in those movements between the theatres when life is not that exciting.
Despite the previous evening's police violence, numbers again swelled on the final day of the protests. On Wednesday, the protests highlighted the impact of globalisation on women and Indigenous peoples around the world. One of the corporations inside the World Economic Forum was Nike. A couple of hundred women held signs with the message, "It takes 1,500 years for an Indonesian woman Nike worker to earn the annual wage of Nike's CEO." This action highlighted the extreme disparity in wealth resulting from corporate-defined development.
You have got to stand as one. 30 years ago I predicted this day would happen, and it's happened. And they're going to make a one-world government for the people, not for the poor. I tell you now, babies, it won't be for the poor, it'll only be for the rich.
And I'll read the letter out that the Kungas sent to me, and then I'll explain what I'm intending to do. I'm here to talk about the nuclear waste dump, I'm here to talk about uranium, and I'm here to talk about how they are vilifying any Indigenous people who speak out publicly about the continual deprivation of our rights as Indigenous people, Indigenous communities. They're running us down, and I'm putting a stop to this publicly. I'm sick of people like Western Mining running me down. And I'm here to fight back. And the letter says, it's a fax, and it says, urgent. To Rebecca, we give you the go-ahead to represent us. Palia Nundu, Nanapa Wankani, Palia okay. You can talk for us. Nanana Munga Rangani Nundampa, we are happy for you to talk to us. Nundu Nanapa Culture Ranganku, Nyaranyi. You've been with us, with the culture. You can say you're a young culture woman. We're giving you the go-ahead to speak for us, representing us. This is your form to represent us at the big meeting at Melbourne that Hugh Morgan and all those people will be at. And they've given me the permission to tell you, mob, we want Hugh Morgan out of Cook of the country, we want to close down Roxby Mine, and we don't want the nuclear waste dump.
The S11 protests moved to the streets of Melbourne in a carnival-like parade which attracted many sympathetic city folk.
a whole lot of really diverse issues come back to the fact that a very small number of people control the wealth and the power in the world.
If you're actually like enjoying yourself, I think you don't feel the need to exploit people, especially to the level that those people up there are exploiting people. I think if they actually came down and danced with us, realised that we're human beings, perhaps things would change, but they're isolated in little bubbles, and as Vandana Shiva said, they think we're aliens.
I really don't have a lot to add, except that I saw on the news last night a lot of police action, which I thought was not justified. In particular, I saw one big cop come across the back of the pack to punch a protester in the face, and the protester didn't appear to be using any untoward violence. So I think that sort of thing's completely unjustified.
How do you think it feels to be a cop and join the force because you want to help people, you want to stop crime? You know, maybe your mom got burgled, or maybe you saw someone hurt by crime, and so you join the force. And then the machine pushes you down and makes you oppress people, makes you a tool of the state, makes you protect property. That's not why they're here. They're not here to protect property. That's not what they're about. They're people just like we're people. And the guys inside don't care any more about them than they care about us.
I'm led to believe that, in fact, the change in attitude that took place on Tuesday as opposed to Monday occurred because the organisers of the World Economic Forum threatened on Monday afternoon or Monday evening to cancel the event if further and stricter security measures were not put into place on a Tuesday. And that then led to the police saying they couldn't do that if extra force was applied. Now, my view on that is that it shouldn't be up to a bunch of millionaires threatening to cancel their event, which determines how effective and sensible policing strategies are put into place. That shouldn't be how policing strategies are dictated.
Isn't that just common sense that the media is going to represent a biased view? Where is the coverage of protest to violence? You are all going to be in deep, deep shit over the next few months. See you at court.
The police are entitled only to use reasonable force, probably only to effect a lawful arrest. Last night, many people were battened and sent to hospital when there was no suggestion that they were being arrested. They were beaten into submission by the police. That is unlawful. Whatever one thinks about the protest, whatever views you have, that is unlawful. The police, the job of the police is supposed to be uphold the law. They are not supposed to be above the law.
Let him through. Hey! Hey! Hey!
QKE 617.
Did you get the number of the car?
On Wednesday evening, without any provocation, a woman was run over by an unmarked police car and is lucky to be alive. A full inquiry into police violence during the S11 protests was announced by the police ombudsperson on September 14th. While mainstream media fought to obscure the real reasons for the protest, the world heard clearly that Melbourne stood up for global justice and won.
Yesterday, Mr. John Gates said the young people outside were stuck in the 1930s. Now, these are children of the 1970s and 1980s. They are the future. They are the future leaders. They are the thinking people. They're university professors and students out there, as are the trade unions today. And I think it would help a lot if the very powerful people in this room would be a little less scared of the younger generations that have a certain idea about the world, the excluded people who want to make an impact. And I've been very privileged as an Indian to be handed over a note by the protesters to communicate to you. So we are not guessing what they're saying. Let's just hear what they're saying. Why we are protesting. Over 10,000 people encircled Melbourne's Crown Casino on Monday, September the 11th, 2000. The reasons for us being here are many, but center on our concern for the increasingly unchecked corporate dominance which defines the world we live in. The World Economic Forum claims that it is not a decision-making body. We know that this is untrue. The WEF includes the richest corporations in the world, which have a huge and disproportionate influence not only on government decisions, but on the food we eat, the air we breathe, whether we have a living wage or not. The WEF doesn't need to be a decision-making body to affect our lives and the lives of all people around the world. The WEF represents corporate interests, not the interests of the people they employ or displace, or the land and resources they exploit for their financial gain. We are students, mothers, fathers, workers, unemployed, environmentalists, from religious traditions, indigenous people, amongst others. We are blockading the Crown Casino today to use one of the tools that we as community groups and individuals have, civil disobedience. We are blockading because people across the world are suffering under corporate-defined globalization. Many of these people are denied the opportunity of civil disobedience because of military regimes, some of which have received corporate support. Unlike the corporations represented inside the World Economic Forum, we do not have multi-million-dollar advertising budgets or public relation consultants. What we have is a steadfast belief that we have both the right and the responsibility to take action in the face of corporate disregard for human rights, environmental protection, public health, and labor regulation. This is something we, here in Australia and around the world, have stated for many years. While the WEF claims that it is now addressing key issues such as human rights and environmental sustainability, this is not reflected in the behavior of individual WEF members, and we see no evidence of equality in the distribution of global wealth. We are continuing our non-violent protest today, and we will be here tomorrow. We are part of a worldwide movement demanding justice before profits. We are not going away on behalf of some of the thousands of S11 blockaders. And I'd like to just remind you in closing, if Gandhi had not used those same techniques, India would not have become a free nation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.